I once believed computer engineering would be challenging, but fulfilling. I didn't anticipate the constant battle against a pervasive, insidious threat. This story, though years in the making, still makes me shiver with chilling clarity. From college years, through internships, and into my professional tech career, I endured sexual harassment. It was a relentless shadow, forcing me to build walls to become unyielding. The moment I caught the slightest hint of malicious intent, I learned to respond with fierce resolve, telling them to stay away. Each disturbing text, every unsettling instant message from a student or coworker became a piece of evidence. I diligently screenshotted these messages, backing them up in my Google Drive, a digital shield against potential escalation. This cautious approach proved invaluable on more than one occasion. There was the unnerving period in college when someone began to follow me, a suffocating presence. Later, at work, a situation escalated so egregiously that I felt compelled to approach HR, a decision I didn't take lightly. Most incidents, however, I chose not to report. I harbored a deep reluctance to be perceived as that person, always running to HR, fearing it would tarnish my professional image. But the burden of these unspoken experiences is heavy. Just last night, the familiar terror resurfaced when I received yet another unsettling communication, a chilling reminder that the vigilance never truly ends, leaving me feeling deeply disturbed. A planned day off began with a friend, yet ended in a storm of internal fury. I returned home, a heavy cloud of resentment settling. We discussed the indignities women face at work, igniting a familiar rage within me. Enough was truly enough. I knew I had to act, exposing the truth. I unleashed my entire folder of damning text message screenshots onto Facebook and Instagram. My bold caption, "Phone and inbox of a female computer engineer." With chilling precision, I tagged every man whose intrusive messages were laid bare, whose social media I could locate. The evidence was irrefutable, a damning indictment. Married men, their brazen advances documented, were met with my stark replies, reminding them of their sacred vows. Others, politely rebuffed, turned hostile, their ugly true selves revealed. Many ignored my clear boundaries, my explicit, "do not contact me," except for work pleas falling on deaf ears. Then there were crude, sexually explicit messages, arriving without warning, unsolicited comments on my appearance, a stark invasion of my personal space. Each text was a testament to utter disregard for my autonomy, my simple wish for peace. This morning, my planned vacation day shattered. My phone exploded with a cacophony of digital chaos. The storm had begun. I had thrown the match, and now the reckoning was upon me, ready or not. The fallout was instant, a digital maelstrom. My phone buzzed with demands from the men I'd exposed, those I'd daringly tagged. Their messages, ranging from desperate pleas to remove the posts to outright fury, were relentless. Most had already untagged themselves, frantically trying to erase their connection to my unveiled truth. While Facebook merely rippled through friends, my 2 Instagram posts, packed with every damning photo, had truly exploded. My follower count swelled, strangers offering overwhelming support, a bizarre, thrilling validation. But the storm raged beyond screens. A chilling email from HR summoned me to a meeting first thing Monday. I confirmed, a cold dread deep inside. What retribution awaited? I deliberately ignored other messages, a silent defiance. This corporate edict was inescapable. Now I grapple with agonizing questions. Should I engage with the men, some furious their secret lives and marriages were irrevocably exposed? My gut screams no. Self-preservation feels paramount. Do I leave the posts up, a monument to defiance, or concede, removing them before further damage? Perhaps HR's verdict dictates my next move. But the most unsettling question lingers. Am I safe? A knot of fear tightens inside, making me wonder if this pervasive nervousness is overreaction or stark warning. I kept quiet for a long time, but the burden became unbearable. Recently, I posted an album on social media, a stark collection of unsettling texts I've received from men in my professional and academic sphere. The decision wasn't light. The cumulative weight of these inappropriate messages became unbearable, compelling me to expose a truth often hidden. Many individuals weren't affiliated with my current employer. The roster included former classmates, a college TA, men from summer internships at various companies, and a past job colleague. Only a fraction of disturbing interactions originated from my present workplace. From my current job, one man's egregious behavior led to an immediate HR report. Conscience demanded it. 3 other situations, however, were more nuanced. 2 involved married men whose inappropriate advances occurred strictly outside work hours. Their conduct never affected my professional environment, so I judged it outside HR's purview. The final instance involved a man who, after my polite rejection of his after-hours invitation, sent mildly passive-aggressive texts. Crucially, this hostility never entered the office. Questions naturally arose. Could my social media link to my identity or my job? I had prepared for this. My profile displays my real name, but I have meticulously omitted any mention of my current company or past professional affiliations. My identity is transparent, but my employers remain anonymous. This album is my truth, standing firm. The question of how so many students and colleagues obtain my cell number or manage to tag me on social media has become a source of quiet dread. I've often wondered how it's even possible, a constant, unsettling thought. My personal space feels constantly invaded. Not every contact arrives via direct text. Many reach me through various instant messaging platforms, necessities for past jobs or crucial college classes. It was a practical requirement, a tool for collaboration, now a lingering vulnerability. In college, exchanging numbers within group projects was disturbingly common, almost expected. A simple convenience turned into a potential privacy breach. Some who have my number are employees at my current job. Our work involves travel, and without company-issued cell phones, personal devices became the default for easy communication. Another practical choice, another thread in this complex web. Regarding Facebook, you are absolutely right. I admit I added some individuals, mostly students and other interns, never current coworkers, before I truly understood their nature. It was a naive oversight, a lapse in judgment. When some of them revealed unsettling, creepy behaviors, I made a difficult, desperate decision. I kept them on my Facebook friends list. Why? Out of a chilling need to monitor them, to track their movements, to know if they were out of town, and more importantly, to ensure they remained far away. This strategy, born of an urgent need for self-preservation, keeps me constantly on edge. My vigilance, my shield. This ongoing struggle, this careful balance between necessity and safety, defines my daily reality. I'm forever looking over my digital shoulder, hoping for peace, yet always prepared for the next unforeseen intrusion. My past choices, though made with good intentions, now cast a long, unsettling shadow. I had been silenced by shame for far too long. Now my truth had to emerge. Just 3 days ago, I took a stand, unleashing a raw, unedited album of the truly disturbing texts I'd received from men within my own professional sphere. Computer engineering. These unsettling messages stemmed from various sources, some from classmates and a TA during my college years, others from individuals I'd met through crucial internships and various professional development events, and even a few from people I work with now. I was utterly fed up with the pervasive sense of being shamed, of being systematically silenced, and, most painfully, of never being believed when I spoke about sexual harassment. Putting that extensive collection of harassing and often threatening texts into the public eye, presented without filter, made it impossible for anyone to ignore them or attempt to rationalize their severity away. The repercussions were swift and undeniable. An invitation for a meeting, formal and direct, arrived in my inbox from my company's HR department, scheduled for this coming Monday. The entire weekend transformed into a period of intense, dedicated preparation. I meticulously delved into extensive research on employment law, absorbing its complexities. I reread the entire company handbook, every single page, internalizing its rules. And for each person I had courageously named in my social media disclosures, I carefully drafted a highly detailed account of their specific behaviors towards me. capturing incidents that extended far beyond what had been conveyed solely through text messages. I also gathered crucial screenshots. The wave of angry, threatening texts I received this weekend, consequence of airing old messages online, forced me into a painful reckoning. To truly grasp the situation, I must first shed light on the 4 individuals from my current job whose past actions compelled my posts. Coworker 1, for instance, casts a long shadow. Just a few months prior, I had endured the arduous process of reporting him to HR for egregious sexual harassment. It was a harrowing experience, but it resulted in him being immediately relocated from my team to a different company position, explicitly designed to sever all contact. He was compelled to sign a strict, legally binding agreement, an ironclad decree stating he must never, under any circumstances, reach out to me again, professionally or personally. I, a mere recipient of this protection, signed nothing. The specific messages from him that I ultimately posted on Facebook were not new. They were old texts, unearthed from my personal phone. They were insidious, veiled compliments on my work attire, suggesting I must have been dressing up for him. I remember the cold dread, my immediate, firm denial. But he persisted, relentless. He demanded to know who, exactly, was dressing for at work, if not him. Because then he'd know who to be jealous of, he wrote, his words oozing an unsettling entitlement. My blood ran cold, but I found my voice or my fingers. Myself, I replied, a defiant declaration of independence, followed by an unequivocal command. Stop texting me on my personal phone. The weight of his past intrusions and the new barrage of threats now converge, a suffocating burden. My professional life often felt like navigating a minefield of unwanted attention. It began with my personal phone. Days later, his messages grew much bolder. He complimented my new hair color, deeming it hot, then brazenly asked me out for drinks. This was merely a fraction of his unsettling communications, a pattern of harassment I had primarily kept to myself. Then came the shocking revelation. He, the aggressor, was the very person who reported my social media posts to HR. He wrongly believed I was bound by a no-contact agreement, similar to one he'd clearly been forced into. But no such agreement existed for me, neither written nor spoken. My silence was simply a lack of desire to engage with him. The office held other perils. Another colleague, a married man, presented a different facade. At work, his conduct appeared outwardly impeccable. My contact number, provided purely for essential work travel and team coordination, since our company provides no work phones, became his tool. Then, an unsolicited text out of the blue. An invitation to a fancy seafood dinner upon my return. It was unmistakable. He was proposing a clandestine date. My immediate response was a blunt, "You're married." His reply, a dismissive assertion that discretion would protect us, claiming I seemed like someone capable of keeping a secret. The audacity of these men, their blatant disregard for boundaries, left me reeling, forever wary of professional interactions. I kept quiet for a long time, but this story still makes me shiver. It begins with a deep, unsettling secret from my past. One day, pushed past my absolute limit, I vehemently told him to leave me alone. He was fired a week later for unrelated reasons, so while I'd been thinking about going to HR, I never did. I haven't heard from him since, even after my social media post, but there was more to endure. This specific coworker, let's call him Coworker 3, was also married. One time I was at a work happy hour and I left pretty early. He texted me on my work instant messaging platform, which I have on my phone, asking me to go party with him. I asked, "Is your wife coming?" and didn't get a response. I didn't think it was bad enough to report to HR as sexual harassment, because something usually has to be done repeatedly to qualify as harassment, unless it is something egregious. That was in the company handbook, in less concise words. That specific text exchange was courageously included in my post. Then, the true storm broke. After my post, he sent me a slew of threatening texts. Apparently his wife had seen the post, and I had ruined his family, he accused. He said that I was about to get what was coming for me real soon, and to watch out, which sounded like a chilling, undeniable threat. This terrifying encounter solidified my resolve to never let such insidious behavior go unchallenged again. I've learned that some experiences, no matter how brief, leave an indelible mark. Like the colleague who hurled homophobic slurs, targeting my openly bisexual identity, words that still echo with a chilling venom, a constant reminder of prejudice. Then came another. Fresh from a broken engagement news I gleaned from the pervasive office rumor mill, never from him, he contacted me, proposing a date. I gently but firmly explained he wasn't my type. His true intentions swiftly surfaced. He merely sought casual sex. My silence, a deliberate pause to process his blatant disregard, stretched for hours. He couldn't abide it. A second text arrived, dripping with contempt. Well, then go ahead and be a bitch and leave me on read. The audacity was breathtaking. As this incident occurred outside work and lacked a pattern of harassment, I opted against involving HR, choosing to wait for any repeated, unacceptable behavior. He never reached out again, even after I shared my story online. The past, however, held disturbing echoes. My college recently contacted me, reigniting a wound, a former TA who relentlessly pursued me. My clear rejections led his course, helped to vanish, a manipulative tactic. The university suspects he's still preying on students, asking for my statement. I must speak. He must be held accountable. The emotional storm had truly begun to brew. He had already been reported by another, a shadow lurking from his past, and my recent post, they observed, implied I too harbored further revelations. Indeed, a married man, who had pursued me relentlessly during my internship at a previous company, had unleashed a barrage of venomous, terrifying threats via text. My public Instagram post, tagging his own account, had undeniably ignited a firestorm within his marriage, a consequence I could only infer. Now, I navigate my daily life with an unsettling awareness, constantly vigilant, my safety paramount as I leave the sanctuary of my apartment. I am seriously contemplating reporting these grave threats to the police. They represent the most chilling, unambiguous communication I have ever encountered. Meanwhile, a chorus of condemnation emerged from others I had tagged, accusing me of betraying confidences and failing to uphold privacy. Their misguided pleas, however, fell on deaf ears. I dismissed them entirely. That morning, facing the ominous HR meeting, I prepared for battle. My resolve was utterly unyielding. I would dismantle every accusation, armed with the undeniable truths enshrined within the company handbook. My conscience was clear. The social media policy explicitly forbade only the pretense of speaking on the company's behalf, a line I had never crossed. My duty to the company's integrity was absolute. PR wasn't my job, but discretion was key. I'd never reveal confidential code, design, or business contracts online. My social media was pristine, no company mention anywhere. I guarded that boundary fiercely. I stood prepared to defend my strict adherence to sexual harassment guidelines. I reported repeated harassment, carefully distinguishing it from isolated, non-extreme incidents. The handbook was explicit. Extreme conduct meant unwanted sexual touching or threats of violence. It clearly stated asking someone out once wasn't harassment. I knew these distinctions intimately. Despite my intense preparation, the meeting itself unfolded with an unexpected, almost unnerving, low-key atmosphere. Earlier that Sunday, as a gesture of good faith, I had preemptively taken down both posts, though a cynical part of me doubted it would truly make a difference. As I walked into the room, a knot tightened in my stomach. I took my seat and, with a steady voice, asked if I could record the ensuing conversation. The HR representative, whom I'll refer to as Bait, not her true name, of course simply responded with a calm, "Okay." Then, her gaze fixed on mine, she began to speak, her intention clear. She wanted to discuss each of the specific individuals I'd chosen to post about. My heart pounded as Bait presented the screenshots, meticulously collected from individuals still employed by the company. These accusations, though constituting less than a third of the broader set of evidence I possessed, immediately set my nerves on edge. The first name invoked was coworker 1, the very man I had reported to HR months prior. He had been forcefully transferred to a different team, explicitly ordered to cease all contact with me. My stomach truly dropped. How could he be involved? Bate explained that he felt he was upholding a no-contact agreement, asserting that I had violated it. I quickly corrected her, reminding her there was no such formal arrangement on my part. The audacity. I was stunned it originated from him, but I kept my composure, refusing to give him the satisfaction of a visible reaction. She then probed, asking if he had continued any form of harassment or contact since my initial complaint. A cold no was my swift reply. She moved on, her gaze unwavering, to the next individual. Next was coworker 2, a man terminated long ago for entirely unrelated issues. Yet Bate persisted, inquiring if any further friction had transpired between us during his employment, beyond the well-known text exchanges. Again, I met her question with a firm no. Her questioning then turned to coworker 3. And then, the true surprise. I confessed that I had indeed received texts from him just this past Saturday, messages that came of the words escalated, becoming overtly threatening, saturated with vile slurs targeting my sexuality, a deeply personal and hurtful attack. I handed her a precise printout of those damning messages. She absorbed every painful word, then, without a moment's hesitation, stepped out to present them to her manager. The air thrummed with tension. She reappeared after a few strained minutes, her expression unreadable, to resume our conversation. Next, she focused on coworker 4. I explained that he had completely ceased contact after branding me a bitch for merely leaving his message unread, an insult that had truly stung my core. Bate then calmly inquired if I had any further questions. My primary concern was her next course of action, so I directly asked what her definitive steps would be. She revealed she would have requested the post's removal for discreet handling, but I had already completed this task before our meeting began, anticipating her wishes. She confirmed upcoming meetings with coworkers 1 and 4. Then came the shock. Coworker 3, because of his truly threatening comments, had been escorted out of the building even while we spoke. Fired. His temper, it transpired, was a known issue. He was already on record for prior incidents. My experience proved to be the final, unforgivable transgression. Bate concluded by asking why I hadn't brought the issues concerning coworkers 2, 3, and 4 to their attention sooner. My voice trembled slightly as I clarified the situation, pointing directly to the company handbook. Harassment, I explained, was defined as repeated, unwanted comments or actions, a persistent pattern. A single, isolated event, however extreme, rarely constituted harassment in its full sense. The unsettling conversations with those 3 men had, in my eyes, been isolated incidents, deeply unsettling as they were. HR then offered a surprising proposition. Would I feel more comfortable taking a personal day for the rest of the day, allowing her to speak with coworkers 1 and 4 in my absence? She made it explicitly clear. This was not a dismissal, nor was I being escorted out of the building. My job was not at risk. It was a mere precaution, she stated, to prevent any potential confrontation from coworkers 1 or 4 if they felt compelled to seek me out personally. The idea of facing them again, even briefly, filled me with an icy dread. I readily agreed, eager to escape. So here I am, in this strange limbo, the HR meeting concluded. It truly struck me how some individuals are utterly incapable of perceiving their own transgressions. He, for instance, likely viewed his unsettling behavior not as harassment, but as a mere work disagreement, a mutual friction between colleagues, where I shared an equal part in the problem. This warped perception, this absolute lack of self-awareness, chills me to the core. I wonder if true justice can ever truly penetrate such thick-skinned denial. He faced trouble, yet his deluded mind still believes conditions were placed on me because they were placed on him. It is utterly inconceivable to him that he was the true aggressor, and I, unequivocally, the victim. This perverse logic makes no sense. He genuinely viewed our conflict as a mutual disagreement. Initially, he even had the audacity to claim Asterisk was harassing him back for using profanity towards him like "fuck off," and "don't say that shit to me," words born of sheer, raw frustration. How else could the company possibly handle it? When a woman bravely posts proof of being harassed, the only reasonable and ethical response is to follow up and deal with harassment. I'm sure they would have preferred I print out those damning texts and provide them to HR directly, rather than publicly blasting his misconduct on the internet. But that was merely a matter of discretion. Some things I put online did not strictly qualify as harassment by their policy, an isolated incident not extremely bad. This perceived gray area was precisely why I didn't feel I should have gone straight to I kept quiet for too long. But the unsettling reality of what transpired still haunts my thoughts, leaving me deeply troubled. I wrestle with the very definition of harassment, questioning if its insidious nature and full impact are ever truly recognized. Yet, a clear voice within urges me to report everything, meticulously documenting it. What if I am not the only one to experience this one-time unwanted attention? I realize only an undeniable pattern might finally compel action, preventing our professional space from becoming a crude, predatory dating game. But then, the most terrifying question surfaces: filing police reports. I am profoundly torn, agonizing over whether to expose him and the other man whose chilling words felt like an overt threat. This choice looms, heavy and terrifying. I must choose.